to see another sign. He'd already showed them signs. He'd already showed them miracles, but something caused them to have a, one of them spells we talk about, what they call it, sometimers. Somehow they got sometimers. I don't remember that. When did Jesus raise the dead? Well, you were standing right there. Well, I didn't see Lazarus get up. My goodness, I forgot all about that. What is causing that kind of thing? What is causing his own disciples? Something was influencing his own disciples to where, I don't remember Jesus doing that. What did he do with the loaves and the fishes again? That's what Jesus said. How come y'all hard to understand? Why can't y'all understand this? How come you have eyes and cannot see? Ears, and he's telling them, he's asking them this. He knows the answer though. Jesus always asks me something and he already knows. Isn't that funny? Has he ever talked to you that way? And say, Darryl, what about this? Well, you know. You know, Lord. All through the Bible you get that all the time. Adam, where art thou? Well, he already knew Adam was naked in the bush. I'm naked in the garden. He already knew. And he asked John a question. John said, God only knows, Lord. You know. In Revelation, let's see, 19. When I broke the 5 loaves among 5,000, how many baskets full of fragments took ye up? They said unto him, 12. And when the 7 among 4,000, how many baskets full of fragments took ye up? And they said, 7. And he said unto them, how is it that you do not understand? So he's trying to actually show them that they have already partaken of something that caused them not to understand. How these spirits enter into influence even those who love God. I'm talking about even the top 3 disciples back then. The sons of thunder and Peter, who he took with him to the Garden of Gethsemane, who he took with him up on the Mount of Transfiguration. The most dedicated disciples, us here on Sunday night, the most dedicated, somehow we are blocked with our understanding many times, and our spiritual understanding. And he's trying to give us wisdom, but something's blocking it. How and why? Remember what he said. Beware of the leaven of the Pharisees. The leaven is false doctrine. You see, we've all been raised in certain ways by mom and daddy, grandma, grandpa, some other family member, in certain churches, in certain teachings, maybe. Some raised in different ways, some raised to be an atheist. Whatever it was, even in school. Maybe your parents didn't take you to church and you learned about evolution in school. That leaven is there. That leaven is how these spirits enter in, because they enter in through what we hear and what we see, what we're feeding on, what we believe in, what we allow into our heart and our belief system. That's how they get in. Remember this morning we talked about what we're feeding on, how important it is, and why these people are winding up possessed. They may have been home the whole time and never went out nowhere. One of them persons was an introvert. He didn't go out nowhere but to get a haircut, I think. That was the guy that shot them kids. So something had to enter into him and get off into his holy place because he wasn't saved, and it just filled him full of demons. Legion. We know that there's one that's called Legion, which is Behemoth. It's like the shadow of a beast. The beast that will come in the end days. You have the Antichrist, false prophet, and the beast, which is Legion, which is many, a sea of demons. Something entered into him, but he must have been doing something. He was allowing something into his eyes and ears and taking that leaven. And Jesus said, beware of the leaven. Now, Jesus can get it out, but it's hard to get false and lies out when they're already in our belief system. Y'all see what I'm saying? The Pharisees wouldn't receive Christ and his holy word because they already had their own belief system that was rooted in that leaven, and it was in there. And it caused them to die and go to hell, many of them, because they would not receive. Now they had the Word. They had the Torah. They were in the temple. There was one of them even walking into the Holy of Holies. It was Caiaphas, the high priest. He would go in there. And yet, they knew not God. Isn't that amazing? Many people sit in the pews. They have their Bibles. They read their Bibles. They do all these things, and yet they really have no relationship with Christ. And they don't hear the still small voice, and they're not led by him. So when we say being led by Jesus and hearing that still small voice inside that when he's speaking to you and he's telling you that he loves you, because many times we don't get that and we don't hear it, something has blocked that off, something we have allowed and it hasn't been cast out, we haven't allowed it to come out. Whatever it is blocking the thing off, is blocking the still small voice that's telling you he loves you off. And you say, well, God don't love me, why should he love me? He does love you, but you've got something in there blocking it. You need to submit to the will of God, which is the Word of God. And what does the Word of God say? For God so loved the world, He did what? He gave His only begotten Son, that whosoever shall believe. Well, you're believing. He loves you. He loves you so much He died on the cross, but you can't hear it. I can't hear that He loves me. Why? There's something going on there. You have believed a lie. Either from the enemy, speaking to you from childhood, telling that you're worth nothing. How many have had that? How many have been bullied? You hear about this bullying? Every one of us has been bullied in school. Man, come on. Every one of us has been bullied by that demon, the Leviathan, that comes up and tries to say, you're not worth nothing. You was a mistake. You have no purpose. Go ahead and commit suicide. That liar, that leaven that gets in. Jesus said, beware of that, because that's how these things enter into us and start influencing our thoughts and our actions in life. Did y'all know that? Yeah. I'm finding that out. I'm like, so whatever's causing me to get aggravated all of a sudden, and anger enter into me, and wrath enter into me, that's what was happening to me, yeah. I was allowing something to get in and stay in there. Maybe it's bitterness. The root of bitterness springing up, defiling the whole man. What defiles the whole person? This is spiritual. We allow certain things inside of us. That's why we have altar calls. That's why we say the washing of the water of the Word, that we need to be cleaned out, and Jesus is more than happy to do so. But that's why we do it. But pride sometimes keeps us from allowing Jesus to clean us up. Did you know that? There's things I was holding on to. Even after I was saved, I was laying hands on folks in the hospital, and they were coming out. And the ones that were coming out is the ones that had the less leaven. I'm not kidding you. It was those who didn't really go to church. It was those who were heathens. They were coming out of comas. They were being, I'm like, good grief, they were being set free. I'm talking, I see supernatural miracles. People come out of comas. Just boom, and I mean a flat-out heathen. But then I seen church folk that didn't believe in the miracle-working power of God that wouldn't be budged. Because they had what? They had listened to that leaven that says, God doesn't do that no more. He only worked miracles to start the church. And you'd be surprised at how many mainstream denominations that believe that mess. And when they sit under that type of teaching, and they hear that leaven coming from that Pharisee up in that pulpit, and then when you come in and pray for them, they think you're crazy. They won't receive it. Am I telling a lie? No. His disciples had heard that all their life what the Pharisees had taught. And Jesus was spending 3 years getting all that stuff out of them. Why do you think John the Baptist was in the wilderness? His daddy was in the temple, but he wasn't. Isn't that amazing? God didn't allow him to go up in there. Because you know how hard it is to clean all that stuff out with our free will? Because we hold on. We hold on to it. I know people holding on to speaking in tongues of the devil. Anybody speaks in tongues, they got devil in them.